So iTalk is a blend of iridology and, and Chinese medicine, right? Because Chinese medicine talks about how each organ has is responsible for different feelings, has different feelings and emotions stored in them. But what I find after doing this geez, I don't know now, 16 years, I guess, it's also for those of people who are familiar with like Myers-Briggs testing or DISC testing or any of those types of tests as well. It is like Myers-Briggs testing on steroids. It is so much more detailed than Myers-Briggs or DISC or any of those other personalities tests. And what the eyes are really one of the levels of the eyes is showing is how we filter information. In other words, you can tell somebody, hey, like Madison, could you put the cap on the toothpaste? And Madison may respond like in her head, I can't do anything right for him. Or I can give her, hey, Madison, you look beautiful today. And she may respond, but I didn't look good yesterday. So,
Not Madison, no,
not
no.
Madison. No, of course not Madison. But it reveals how it shows a person's inner dialogues and how that information is being filtered both on the way in, what they're hearing, what they're hearing from other. I can say blue, 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 and you can hear red, red, red.
Mm.
So it will show those details of what that person's of how that person's information is being filtered and transformed before they can hear it, and then running everything through a mental set of filters. So
Mhm.
it reveals that as soon as somebody can shift that conversation, those reactionary measures or those um, the way they respond to those situations immediately changes. And the same thing, if they're filtering information on the way in, it's also being adjusted. It's also being changed on the way out. So what I find so fascinating about iTalk is the more as a person becomes aware of being able to shift their these filters, their ability to respond in an instant, like rather than you ever, Madison, have you ever gotten a little pissed at somebody, maybe a little bit, or Michelle, never, no, no, ever, right? Have you ever been a little pissed at somebody and maybe 30 minutes later, 3 hours later, 3 days later, 3 weeks later, 3 months later, you go,
Three
oh my God.
3 decades later, is
Three,
that one
no,
somewhere in there?
yeah, yeah, me too. Me too.
Times
Decades later, right?
two for some people.
Yeah.
No.
Like, oh my God, what was I thinking 30 years ago? If I could have just done that in that instance, I would have changed the whole trajectory of my life. Anybody? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what this shows is the way that person is filtering those informations and having that reactive response unbeknownst to that person because they're all running in the subconscious and they're happening instantaneously. So rather than waiting for those things to fire off and the person to go into reaction, you can actually see these patterns in the eyes, make the change in them, and all of a sudden that reactivity will turn into effective actions immediately. So this goes to me, it goes to Harvard did a study and they said emotional intelligence is more important than intellect in determining a person's earning capacity. Pretty cool because I've known some really, really bright people who are really, really tough to work with. Yeah. And so with this, and how we measure emotional intelligence here is that delay from when you go into a reaction to when you can come up with an effective action in an instant. And the greater and the shorter that time lapse is, the more effective the person is, the more effective that person is being given additional responsibilities as their ability to respond to life situations increases. So, yes, it's a blend of iridology. Yes, it's a blend of Chinese medicine, but it's also in the practical world and applications, it's a really unique way and effective way to be able to increase your emotional intelligence and basically minutes, measurable results.
Yeah.
And as soon as somebody makes a shift in their emotional intelligence, their eyes automatically reflect that shift immediately.
Yeah.
That's to me is way cool.
Yeah. Well, it ties in with that conversation, with the eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah.
So if that's true, as soon as someone makes a change in their soul, their beliefs, their thoughts, their feelings, it will immediately change in their eyes.
Yeah.
So it's just proof. It's proof for me both ways that it feeds back and forth. It's really, really amazing.
Yeah, it has to be for it to show up in a change in the eye. It has to be a biochemical change in the body. It can't just be a mental. If it's just on mental awareness, the eyes don't change. So once the body actually has a change in the thoughts, words, and feelings, heavy on the feelings, because its feelings are what's driving consciousness. Once those feelings change, the eyes automatically change.
Yep.
It's in their body. It's fascinating. I've been doing this, like I said, for 15 years, and it's amazing. And I keep tweaking it and changing it, and just not be changing it. Cancel. I keep seeing deeper and deeper applications of how this works and how beautiful it really, really is.
So can someone's eye color change?
Yes, indeed.
Oh wow, that's cool. So eye color, the lines, all of that can change within someone's
All
body.
of that, all of it. My eyes, when I first started doing this work, my eyes were kind of greenish blue, and my eyes looked like they came from two different people. Like they didn't. It looked like they didn't belong in the same head. And great question, Madison. Why is that, Mark? Thank you for asking, Madison. Because the left eye is mom's lineage genetically, and the right eye is dad's lineage genetically. It's also the left eye is about receiving, and the right eye is about giving. So, you ever heard like being in the flow of life? Like, oh wow, really in the flow of life. Well, what that means is the person is able to receive and give freely, give and receive freely. If they have, I know people who are they're way better at giving than they are at receiving. I know people who are way better at receiving than they are at giving. They get something and they're real stingy with it. Well, that's not being in the flow of life where there's a continual energy exchange. So the eyes show that map. So if I'm working with a couple or an executive team or a company or any of those things, which I've worked with all those people, you can see exactly how the energy patterns and how the people are communicating energetically and verbally, and how their conflict can arise just by seeing their eyes. It's fascinating. I've had a couple I've had somebody send me a couple pictures who I have yet to meet, who I had yet to meet. Sat down and did a session with them, and I was able to quote them what they fought about, what they said to each other in a fight, just by reading their eyes. And they're like, "Man, how you're actually saying the exact same words we're saying and what we're arguing about just by reading our eyes?" Yes, 100% accurate. I love this subject. How you doing, Miss Ellie?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yeah, I mean it's a fun. It gets really deep really quick, and it's really amazing and fun to see upgrades, like to see people when people see their own eyes, because when we do an eye talk session, we do a screen share and actually share their eye photos with them. And when they are seeing their own eyes, it goes in a different way, Mark, than just like direct coaching is great. It's awesome. But there's something kind of like I was talking about earlier, being face to face with a person. When you see your eyes, when I see my eyes, that front and center, and like I can see all of that. Like there's some people, even non-emotional people, when they see their eye photos, they start
Yeah.
to tear up, or it's like, wow, like, oh my gosh, even though they have yet to have any idea what's going on. With the eyes, one of the things we really stand on here is our greatest weakness really is our greatest strength. That's a spiritual law we stand on here. So if there's something, a glitch showing up in the eyes, or something, a glitch, if there's a marker showing up in the eyes, like, I can see that. I can also see their greatness and what they're really here for. And I really believe it's those tears coming up. It's really that, oh my gosh, I've been living this way for however many decades I've been living this way. And all of this is a whole new life is available to me just by staying present and going through some of these things that I haven't wanted to touch that easily. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what some of the tears are that come up for people so quickly like that, is just it's a deep feeling, seeing the rawness of their own stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
Just
it's really amazing.
sad,
No lying happening. It's all truth front and center.
the sadness of the old personality dying and the joy of the new being coming into existence basically at the same time.
Yep.
So is there like a certain, like, would a brown eyes mean something different than blue eyes, mean something different than green eyes? Like, does the color play a lot, or is it mostly just like the lines, or what does all that mean? It's interesting.
Yep. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. So the brown eyes and blue eyes can mean something differently. There can be, like, different cultures may have different, let's see how to say this, different suppressions that have been carried down in the culture for a long time, different belief systems. Like, I'm working, one of my clients was a Chinese national. And this China, she was a female, this China, and her eyes were like really, really dark, really, really, really dark. Then this China encouraged self-expression among their citizens. Yes, or yes or no? Is China a very free country?
No.
No. Right. So, the person has to sedate themselves in order to survive in that country. They have to take on certain beliefs of that societal thing. All babies are born with blue eyes, or most all babies are born with blue eyes, and then with a short period of time, their eyes turn to the color. So as they take on the cultural belief systems that whatever the family has, it doesn't mean those things are bad. No, but it's something different than being fully expressed, maybe. Like, well, my culture. One of the people I worked with, Puerto Rican, really dark eyes. When I started working with her, and one of the conversations that would come out of her mouth, well, the way Puerto Ricans are is this, this, and this, and this. Like, so yeah, you don't have a choice because you're Puerto Rican and you can't control your anger because you're Puerto Rican. And she had the eye roll mastered. The eye roll medicine. The eye roll.
Big eye roll, yeah.
Like, like disdain.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Husband would do something, kid would do something, and like that, cold it. So like that's whatever that is was a suppression that showed up in her eyes. And she said, "Well, that's just the way it is because I'm Puerto Rican." No, it's the way it is because you keep saying that over and over again, and you believe it is, but you believe in that. So as she began to do this work, her eyes got lighter and lighter and lighter, and guess what else? She got way more happy. She goes, "Wow, I'm so much different." She goes, I didn't think I had a choice with the way all this stuff because this is the way my family was, and this is the way my mom was. This is just the way we handle issues." Well, that's a non-choice choice. You know what I'm saying? So as people begin to do this with work, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I have so much more freedom. oh, I can actually choose. I don't have to blame my family for this, or blame this for this, or blame my culture, or this or that. All that stuff's off of them. Kind of fun. And one of the things I really appreciate here too is um, a lot of people will say, "Oh, personal growth's going to be so hard. You got to work so hard to do this, and it's so hard to change, and all that." And well, give us 10 minutes. Let's or 30 minutes. Do a 30-minute little questionnaire call with us. In 30 minutes, you'll change your life. You'll make a substantial change in your life. And I'll go. Now, would you like to go back to where you were? Oh, hell no, that's hard. Where I was living is hard. Where I'm living here is way easier. And it's always going to be that next step of greater and greater levels of ease instead of the state of not ease or dis-ease, right? So, and way more effectiveness, way more cash, way more happiness, and your ability to give and receive love grow exponentially. That's interesting.
Very.
I agree. From somebody who couldn't say the word love 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yepers.
So,
Yep.
where do y'all offer these eye talks? How could somebody get their eyes read?
Well, if you come to any of our live classes, an eye talk session is included in our live in-person classes because you were required to get a photo done of your eyes. Um, I, whether you get an eye talk session or um, we just do coaching, I can, I can be in a group of 40 people leading a class, and by the end of the class, I can tell you what everybody's eyes are like because I can tell how you respond to questions. Because it's that accurate. But the way to do it is jump in, we have a class coming up February the 10th through the 12th in Jacksonville, Florida, called How to Wow, and it's going to be a 3-day class. It's from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we also have Body Electronics coming up January 25th through the 29th in Jacksonville, Florida. And
Yeah. Prep work for that starts really soon, though.
Yeah. And Body Electronics is even way more fascinating as far as the eye talk session is because we do a photo of your eyes before at the first day of class, and we do another photo of your eyes at the last day of class. And then after you go home, you get a private eye reading and say, here's where you were when you started class, and here's where you are in your consciousness at the end of class. Here's what you gained in consciousness. Now, what are you going to do with your new skill set? Because what I found when we work with people that way, instead of they're having like a raw deal and falling off, now they have some accountability and they're able to see and apply these new skill sets in their life to have their manifestations grow in boldness after the class. It keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah, they see the differences.
And we're talking 4.5 days. Like, there's a lot wild changes in the eyes in 4.5 days. That's really
remarkable.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So.
And the eyes are just reflecting the changes in the person. People will come in. We've had people come in with all kind of states of anxiety and depression, and I choose to know what else. What have you seen? Physical issues as well. But
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But then a lot of emotional stuff also, and to see all that transform in 4.5 days. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Healing fast, massive healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else I'd like to add about eye talk? I guess now people know where they can get their eyes done, they can get them read, and the massive upgrades and healing that can come from it.
Yeah, we do have people some of our associates and coaches who do have cameras in other areas of the country, so you can contact us and see if there's somebody that we have from our network that has a camera. You can get your eye photos done because you can't do it with an iPhone. The cameras we have are $4,000 cameras.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fancy setup.
Very fancy. Very
designed just for this.
Yep.
Yeah, then we also train people to read eyes as well. You know, as people come through our coaches training, like if this is something that other coaches can gain for themselves if they choose to add it to their skill set. You know,
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you have a group of people who'd like to have it done, I'm happy to. I mean, for a large enough group of people, I'm happy to fly in and bring a camera and set up and do it with you.
Yep.
You know, come in and do that. Even with management change, I mean, you talk about change a company culture very, very quickly and have all the things that other coaches or modalities, like maybe you've had some improvement, but to really, really find those deep core issues and really accelerate your goals, we're happy. We do that as well. Fly in and work with the management team, get eye photos done, have a meet and greet, show people what this is about, tell them and start building some security, and then do most everything else from remotely from over Zoom call, and really, really change the management team and culture of a company.
Okay.
I mean, that's tremendous. We've worked for several companies who have experienced a 10x growth in 18 months. That's a pretty significant growth rate.
Oh yeah, one way to elevate a whole business.
Yeah, and have people get along. I mean, good gosh.
Yeah,
Because
and in a fun way.
yeah, because all that stuff anytime you're harboring something inside you, it's not only poisoning you, but it's poisoning your whole company.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Anything else?
That was super interesting.
No. Yeah, I think that's it for me too. It's a super fun topic, and yeah, it's a really cool tool to have in my tool bag.
Yeah, for sure. Quite a talent.
Maybe we could announce when we can put up a Zoom link and do a little introductory class on this over Zoom for
Yeah,
people
I'm sure people would be interested.
yeah, and go a little bit deeper in that. So if anybody's interested in hearing more about this in a 2-hour Zoom class, I'm happy to do an introduction. Michelle and I can do it, and we
Yeah.
can pull up some eyes and show you how it all works. And I mean, it's truly fascinating, and the results are amazing.
Yeah. Drop in the comments below if you would like that, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get it set up after the new year if y'all are interested for sure. So awesome.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you, Mark and Michelle. That was super awesome, super cool. And we will see you all next week.
See ya.
Cool.
Holidays. Bye, guys.
Sounds good. Bye.